He paid for her wedding. He smiled at her ceremony. He danced at her party. And that night, he cried alone in his car. But the real story, the part that breaks your heart, is what he found in her diary 2 weeks later. My name is Daniel. I'm 29 years old, and I want to tell you a story about love, friendship, and a mistake I can never undo. It all started 7 years ago. I was 22. I had just moved to a new city for university. I didn't know anyone. I was alone, a little scared, and very nervous. On my first day, I walked into the wrong classroom. A girl laughed. Not a mean laugh, a kind laugh, a warm laugh. She said, "This is room 204. The history class is room 402. Maybe try the other building?" Her name was Sophie. She had brown eyes, a small smile, and she was holding a big yellow coffee cup with both hands. I felt something strange in my chest. I didn't know it then, but that moment changed everything. Sophie and I became best friends. We studied together. We ate cheap noodles together when we had no money. We watched movies on her small laptop. We talked until 3 in the morning. She was my person, my best person. But I had a secret. I was in love with Sophie. Not the small kind of love, the big kind. The kind that hurts when she laughs with someone else. The kind that makes you feel happy and sad at the same time. Every time she called me, my heart jumped. Every time she was sad, I felt sad too. Every time another man looked at her, I felt something cold in my stomach. But I never said anything. Why? Because I was afraid. Afraid she wouldn't feel the same. Afraid I would lose her. And the thought of losing Sophie, my best friend, the most important person in my life, was worse than the pain of loving her in silence. So I kept my secret. Every day. For 7 years. I watched her date other men. I listened when she told me about her heartbreaking. I held her hand. I made her tea. I was always there. The perfect friend. The perfect liar. Then one day, Sophie called me. Her voice was different, excited, bright, almost singing. She said, "Daniel, Marcus asked me to marry him." I said, "Yes, Marcus, her boyfriend of 8 months." I remember I was standing in my kitchen. I was holding a glass of water. When she said those words, I put the glass down very carefully, very slowly, because I was afraid I would drop it. "Daniel, are you there?" "Yes," I said. "I'm here." "Sophie, that's wonderful." And I smiled, even though she couldn't see me, because that's what I always did. 3 weeks later, Sophie told me something that made everything worse. "Daniel, I have a problem. The wedding venue is too expensive. Marcus and we don't have enough money. My parents can't help. I don't know what to do." She wasn't asking me for money. She wasn't that kind of person. But I offered. I said, "Sophie, let me help. Please, let me do this for you." She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Daniel, I can't let you." "Please," I said. "You're my best friend. You deserve the most beautiful wedding." I had some savings, money I was planning to use for my own future. A small apartment, a new beginning. I gave it all to Sophie's wedding. 8,000 euros. Every cent I had. The wedding was beautiful. Sophie wore a white dress with small flowers at the shoulders. Her hair was up. She was glowing, like something from a dream. I wore a blue suit. I sat in the front row. I smiled for every photo. When the priest said, "You may kiss the bride," I looked at my shoes. After the ceremony, I danced with Sophie's grandmother. I made jokes with Marcus's friends. I ate wedding cake and said it was delicious. At midnight, when everyone was still dancing, I quietly went to the car park. I sat in my car. I didn't cry immediately. I just sat there, very still, and looked at nothing. Then I cried. Not a small cry, the big kind. The kind that makes your whole body shake. The kind you have to hide with both hands. I cried for Sophie. I cried for 7 years of silence. I cried for 8,000 euros. I cried for the version of myself that was too afraid to say 3 simple words. I love you. 3 words. 7 years. Too late. After a long time, I wiped my face. I drove home. And I decided something. I decided to move on, to forget, to start a new life. For 2 weeks, that plan was working. Then Sophie's mother called me. Sophie's mother called me on a Tuesday morning. Her voice was very quiet, very serious. She said, "Daniel, Sophie is in the hospital. She's okay. Please don't worry." But she found something. In her old apartment, a box of her things from university. And inside, there was a diary. I didn't understand. "Sophie wants you to read it," her mother said. "She says you need to read it." I drove to the hospital very fast. Sophie was sitting up in bed. She had hurt her ankle, not serious, but her eyes were red. She had been crying. In her hands, she held an old blue notebook. She said, "Daniel, I need to show you something. I need you to read this. And I need you to know, I'm so sorry." She gave me the diary. I opened it. The first page I read was from 5 years ago. It said, "I can't stop thinking about Daniel. Every time he looks at me, I feel strange. I think, I think I love him, not as a friend, as more. But I can never tell him. He doesn't feel that way. I'm sure. I would lose him. And losing Daniel would destroy me." I read the next page, and the next, and the next. Page after page, year after year. Sophie loved me. She had always loved me. For 5 years we were both in love. We were both too afraid. We were both silent. We chose silence, and silence stole everything. I put down the diary. I looked at Sophie. She was crying. I was crying. There were 100 things I wanted to say, 1,000 things. But I said only this: "Why didn't you tell me?" And she said, very quietly, "Why didn't you tell me?" We sat in that hospital room for a long time, without more words. Sometimes, the saddest stories are not about cruel people. They are not about enemies or betrayal. They are about two good people. Two people who loved each other. Two people who were afraid. And one bad decision that neither of them could take back. Sophie and Marcus are still married. She chose to stay. She said it was the right thing. Maybe it is. I respect her for that. I moved to a different city 3 months after the wedding. I started again. Some days are hard. Some days I look at my phone and almost call her. Then I remember. Some chapters are finished. You cannot rewrite them. You can only learn from them. And that is what I tell myself every morning. I am learning. I am still learning. English lesson pause. Did you notice these words and phrases? I felt something strange in my chest. This means a sudden surprising feeling. My heart jumped. Your heart feels like it moved suddenly because you are excited or nervous. Too late. The moment when you cannot change something anymore. In silence, without speaking, without words. These are real expressions. Native speakers use them every day. Which phrase was new for you? Write it in the comments below. And if this story made you feel something, if it reminded you of someone or something in your own life, I want to hear it. Thank you for learning English with me today. I'll see you in the next story.